The American Religious Town Hall meeting has been a gift, a vision of America at its best, where civil discourse leads to understanding and e pluribus unum, out of the many, we are one.
But as with everything, if we're going to succeed, we need to change some things, particularly in the area of wider representation.
The American Religious Town Hall meeting is now in session.
Welcome, friends, to the American Religious Town Hall meeting, where the discussion of religious, political, and social issues is meant to promote the cause of religious freedom and to help us better understand each other. And now, here is your host and moderator.
Welcome, viewers, and a particular welcome today to our 70th anniversary of the American Religious Town Hall meeting show. We're delighted you have joined us. My name is Andrea Luxton. I'm the president of Andrews University in Berrien Springs, Michigan, and I'm the moderator of today's show. I'd like our other panelists to introduce themselves to you.
Hi, I'm Tom Plumley. I'm the senior minister at First Christian Church in downtown Fort Worth, Texas. Our congregation is a part of the Christian Church Disciples of Christ.
Hi, I'm Dan Levin. I serve as senior rabbi at Temple Bethel in Boca Raton, Florida.
Hi, I'm Carl Trovall. I'm professor of ethics and history at Concordia University in Austin, Texas.
And my name is Mel Robeck. I'm senior professor of church history and ecumenics at Fuller Theological Seminary, where I also serve as special assistant to the president for ecumenical relations. I'm also an Assemblies of God minister.
Thank you all very much. And now to today's introductory moderator statement. We want to reflect over the last 70 years and the meaning of the show. In the winter of 1952, Pastor A.A. Lesky had a compelling dream of what he envisioned would become a panel of various clergy presenting lively conversations on television. As a result, the American Religious Town Hall meeting was first aired on WCCO-TV in Minneapolis, Minnesota on January the 10th, 1953. Many miracles of God have been witnessed by both the panelists and the viewers. And as these 7 decades of TV broadcasts have zipped on by, we have added YouTube, and thanks to the World Wide Web, we now have easy access and choice of when to view and what archived TV topic to enjoy. As our founder, Albert A. Lesky, fondly referred to as Bishop Lesky, stated, "My friends, the American Religious Town Hall meeting was created to bring about a better understanding among all people, regardless of race or creed, and to preserve our civil and religious freedom in America." Learning how the program first got its inspiration 70 years ago is illuminating. Pastor Albert Lesky had studied the Bible with a young lady. She embraced Bible truth but faced an immediate reaction from her family. Here are the bishop's own words. Her father drove her out of the home in midwinter. He even refused to allow her to pack extra clothing. In intense anger, he yanked her by the hair from the chair and thrust her out into the cold, telling her to never come back. Albert pondered he had seen a dog treated like that, but never a child. Notice the words that follow. Young Albert felt that a long step to eliminating intolerant attitudes and toward amicable mutual understanding among people would be taken if people would only talk to each other. So over 70 years ago, this incident is the root cause event that created the American Religious Town Hall meeting. Panelists are asked to consider 3 questions emerging from this conversation. Firstly, after 70 years, how do we honor this inspired original intent of the program and make a new and renewed impact on our divided nation? Secondly, how do we increase the market share of viewers quote, to take the long step to eliminating intolerant attitudes and increasing mutual understanding among people. And lastly, how do we build on the integrity and power of the original inspiration so the program is not only sustainable, but creates new paradigms for another 70 years? I'm going to turn back now to those that started our program for their comments.
So I believe I am the newest member of this panel, and I look forward to the opportunity for these moments of understanding and dialogue deeply. And it's an incredible privilege to be part of this remarkable group. And I feel just personally so enriched by the friendships that I've been able to form with the members of this really wonderful panel. One of the things that I think has been the great gift of America to world history is this remarkable idea of a land where not only will the state not impose its vision of what religious truth is, but will secure the liberty and the freedom and the security for each and every citizen to be able to express their religious ideology as God compels them to. And we have so much to learn from each other when it comes from how we each hear that word of God. I'm always reminded of the parable of the blind men and the elephant, right? Where three blind men come upon an elephant and one of them says, "What is this thing?" Well, he's holding on to the tail, and he says, "Well, it's a kind of ratty whippy kind of a thing." And the other person says, no, he's holding on to the leg. It's a very patient elephant. And he says, "No, it's a tree trunky kind of a thing." And someone else says, no, he's holding onto the trunk. It's a garden hosey kind of a thing. And the fact is that as human beings, we're all so limited in our capacity to understand the fullness of the divine. And so we have so much to learn from each other in the context of what real dialogue can be. I learned from a wonderful organization called Essential Partners that there's a difference between debate and dialogue. Debate, they taught, is like volleyball, where you're trying to smash the ball to make your opponent miss so that you can score a point. Dialogue, they suggest, is more like playing catch, where I'm trying to give to you in a way that you can receive it and hold it, so that you can return to me in a way that I can also receive and hold it. And the idea is to see how long can we keep that ball in the air. And I think that part of what has been the genius of this program is the opportunity for sacred dialogue. Not that we have to sacrifice what we believe, but that we can learn so much about who we are and what we believe from comparing, contrasting it with what others believe. In the Talmud, there's an idea that says, Elu ve'elu divrei Elohim chayim. These words and those words are both the words of the living God. And I know that my understanding of what God wants of me has been deeply enriched from the dialogue and the conversations we've enjoyed over years with the members of this panel. And I hope that you've been enriched by what we've had a chance to share and experience together.
Thank you very much. Tom, you suggested some possible changes.
Yes, well, Rabbi Levin began by saying that he was probably the newcomer to the panel. I'm probably the longest tenured. I came on in 1998. First filming was in August of that year, and Bishop Leiske's son, Robert, was the moderator at that time, and for several years thereafter, as I was on the program until his death. And when I first came, I was asked just to fill in for someone, and expected never to be on it again, and really really thought I was going to be on for one program. It has been a while since then, and it's been a great thing, and I appreciated the words that Rabbi Levin had for understanding the uniqueness of this program, and I think it is certainly the longest lived religious television program, and maybe the longest continuous television program in the world. So this is a pretty neat thing. But you know, when you look back at those pictures of the first panel, it was 6 white guys sitting around in dark suits. And here we are, 4 white guys sitting around in dark suits. We have gone far enough to have one female voice, and we are so blessed that you've become a part of the program, Andrea. But we need more diversity on this panel. We have African American voices on the panel, but there is such a great variety of voices out there that we need to try to find ways to include here.
Thank you. Thank you. Mel, you have some?
Yes, I also appreciate this program very much, and I do think that the two things that were called for right at the beginning, this whole idea that we wanted to get a better understanding of one another and be able to maybe bridge gaps between us, and the issue of religious freedom, I think those are both still very relevant kinds of issues. You know, I've been involved in ecumenical work, that is, work between different kinds of Christian churches, for almost 40 years. And I have to say that every ecumenical dialogue in which I participate, I have learned something. I've learned not only something about that tradition, but I have learned something about myself. And I think I am a better Pentecostal today as a result of having spent that time in those various dialogues. And I have to say that the same is the case here. We've had a bit of interreligious work here, largely with with rabbis, but we've also had at least one imam in the time that I've been part of it, and I think we learned a good deal in having that discussion. But it's also the case that, as you mentioned, there's a bunch of, in a sense, and I don't count you in, Dan, old white guys that tend to dominate in the show. And I guess I don't count you either, Carl. But, you know, it has been the tradition. You come here with the gray hair, so, you know, it's, and well, you're getting some too. Yes, you are. Well, but mine's gone totally white. Maybe that's because of all of you. But in any case, I do think that we do need to have younger people. I think younger people would watch it more frequently if they saw younger faces. Although, you know, in Southern California, there's a town right now that's putting up for a vote, should 16-year-olds have the ability to vote in our city. They don't even pay taxes. Anyway, so, you know, I think there's wisdom and experience that comes with age. But at the same time, I do think that we need more variety. And I do think we need to pay attention to ethnicities that have never been part of this. The Latino community is huge in this country, and it's never been here. I do think that we can have different kinds of voices from various ethnic communities, just like we have from my white community, not just Pentecostals, but white older men. And I do think that we could learn a little bit more. And here's where I want to turn specifically to the people that watch this show and say, you know, every once in a while we get this comment from the moderator that we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear what is on your mind. In order to make this more relevant to you, we need to hear what you have to say. We need to hear what subjects you would like to have covered. Do we spend too much time looking at the Bible? Do we spend too much time looking at politics? Do we spend enough time on either one of those? What is it that really kind of, you'd love to have some answers? That would be a great way to move forward, I think.
Thank you. Carl.
Oh, thank you. It's this is wonderful comments on the program. I mean, and a lot of your experiences I could just repeat and say amen to, because I take back material from this program to my classroom often and talk about what some of you have each said in various contexts to help even my students get a broader vision of the world, which, I mean, then ties in back to, I think, what you've been talking about, and that is to expand the voices here. I mean, it really is current in a lot of theological worlds these days that depending upon your perspective, you read God's Word very differently, the Bible very differently because of your perspective. Whether you're poor or wealthy or whether you come from a particular culture. And I would love to see that broader perspectives also represented here. I really genuinely think, too, we need to bring more world religions present, because every time I study a world religion and begin to understand it different from my own, I kind of like to be a part of that tradition, because you realize the deep wisdom in all the religious traditions, and I wish that more people had an awareness of that, and I would hope this program could do that as well. I'm struck by this line here. Young Albert felt that a long step to eliminating intolerant attitudes toward amicable mutual understanding among people would be taken if people would only talk to each other. I thought, wow, I mean, the more things change, the more they stay the same. We are in the same boat right now. It's sad, but at the same time, that's kind of exciting about what possibilities there are for this program and helping us in being a nation that is e pluribus unum.
I think, picking up on what you said, Carl, there's so much in America today where we kind of only want to talk to people who tell us what we already know so that we feel better about ourselves. And we lock ourselves into echo chambers where the only voices that we hear are the people who already believe what we believe and who already are in the same page that we are on. I think the richness of this program is the fact that we hear voices that are not like us, that are different. And I think there is a prejudice sometimes that teaches that new ideas are dangerous. And I think that what this program tries to teach is actually, no, new ideas are delicious. And that we can savor what we taste from a flavor that is unfamiliar, in helping us to build a greater sense and awareness. The one other thing that I would just share briefly is that I don't just learn more about other traditions from this. I learn more about my own tradition by having the mirror held up of another tradition and compare and contrast. I'm blessed in my family that my dear cousin is Monsignor Robert Harris of the Brooklyn Diocese. So it's kind of funny, where you say, a priest and a rabbi are part of the same family. But over the many years of our love and friendship as family, we've really learned a lot about what we individually believe from our conversations between the Jewish and the Catholic sides of our family.
Thank you. Tom, you had...
Yeah, one of the difficult times in my tenure here was when one panelist pretty regularly assigned another panelist to hell, and that just did not fit what the program's all about. And one of the things we have to realize when we're on here is that we are learning from each other. And regardless of what theological background we come from, all of us are taught to come with humility to our faith.
Thank you. Mel, one moment.
Yes, I loved Rabbi's metaphor of the volleyball game versus the game of catch. I mean, I think it's absolutely true. The difference between dialogue and, in a sense, diatribe, debate. We're not here to prove a point. We're here to speak to one another and to learn from one another. And I think that's really important. Prior to COVID, we were 6 panelists and not just 4. And it meant that we each spoke a little bit less, but it also offered the opportunity for a little bit more diversity than what we have right now. And I would love to see the show go back to that, if that is at all possible, so that we can have more voices at any time.
And the times that we sat around a table rather than behind this thing seemed more dialogical, frankly.
Thank you. I mean, what I'm hearing from everybody, though, despite the opinions on how maybe we could do it differently, it is really this sense that we all go away feeling we have actually learned something new. We've learned something new because we are not trying to win points, but actually because we are, in fact, listening as well as speaking. Let's have a commercial break.
We hope you're enjoying today's program. If you'd like to learn more about the American Religious Town Hall, please visit our website at americanreligious.org. That's americanreligious.org. There you can read about the vision and history of the program, and we invite you to become a ministry partner, explore our Town Hall Estates healthcare facilities, and view past programs by clicking the appropriate menu buttons. Each week, we look forward to receiving your letters. You may write us at the address shown on your screen. Send your letters to American Religious Town Hall Meeting, P.O. Box 180118, Dallas, Texas 75218. If you have a prayer request, please send it to prayerrequest@americanreligious.org. Thank you for writing and thank you for watching. Now, back to today's closing statements.
Thank you for joining us again for our 70th anniversary show of the American Religious Town Hall Meeting. And for their closing remarks, I'm asking each of the panelists to try and recall one highlight of the time that they've been on this show that represents what this show is all about. Starting with you, Tom.
Mine's easy. It came out of the voice of Rabbi Jordan Offsire, who was a friend before I came on the program, and became a greater friend as I was on the program, because I used a word at one point. I used the word Pharisaism in a very negative context, and he took offense to that and straightened me out on it. And I will always remember and always try to find a different way to say what I want to say without using that word. It's an example of the way that from very differing traditions we can come and learn how to be together in a different way and still talk about the greatness of God.
Thank you. Carl.
There's so many different things, but one I remember is where I actually took a position that I completely did not believe in myself. And I tried to argue that position because everyone else had taken the position I wanted to take. So I thought, well, it's good to have debate. But I think it highlights the importance that in order to understand your own view better, you need to have the ability to understand things from another perspective and be able to argue it. And I think that's what I love about this program too.
Well, what I've enjoyed the most, I think, is getting to gain a new set of friends. And friends who have challenged me at a whole range of points, It's hardly a show goes by when I don't have to think twice about some word that somebody has given. I've learned a great deal through that. And I especially enjoy the confrontations on occasions, very rare, and maybe not enough, between black and white panelists. We have had some wonderful African American panelists on here that could really kind of hold our feet to the fire as white folk, and I think that's incredibly important in our society, in our culture at this time. Dialogue produces friends, and friends then come to trust one another, and therefore, you can build huge common cause if you can become friends and build trust.
Thank you. Rabbi.
I think for a long time, the way that folks looked at interfaith dialogue, at least from our perspective, was that's where those folks are trying to convert us, and that's where we're going to try to convince them not to kill us. Yeah. Because we used to be so rooted in the absolute certainty of our individual truths that we saw that anybody who didn't possess those same truths as literally the enemy. And part of what I have loved about the participation in this community is the realization that someone who may hold beliefs that are very, very, very different than mine are coming to those beliefs not from a place of badness, but from a place of love for God. They just see it through a very different lens than I see it. And that doesn't mean that I have to agree. I think that one of the things that I look back on with fondness was a show where things that I believe about the humanity of people in the gay community was not shared by everyone on the panel. And it was difficult. It was not an easy conversation. And I felt empowered to say what I really thought, as did the other members of the panel who did not agree with what I thought. And I realized that the fact that they didn't believe what I believed did not diminish the sanctity of their humanity one iota. Even though I'm sure they walked away saying, I can't believe he said that. Just like I came home and I said, I can't believe he said that. And that's part of the richness, right? The way that we break down barriers of misunderstanding, the barriers of prejudice, is when we talk and see not just the humanity of each other, but that we're all striving to understand what it is that God really wants from us.
Great, thank you very much. And thank you to all of you for your comments today. No, I can't answer for everyone here, but my job is one that is just constant, different people with different ideas, you having to manage this, manage that, the divergent views of and expectations that are on universities, for example, from political side, from church sides. And so coming here, for me, has been a bit of an oasis. It's been an oasis because I haven't had to make 100 decisions a day. It's a capacity to just stop for a moment, pause, listen, reflect on my own experience and the experience of others are extremely rewarding. So thank you all to everyone. Why has the American Religious Town Hall Meeting aired for 70 years? Martin Luther King wrote a statement in a letter while locked up in a Birmingham, Alabama jail. Quote, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly." The American Religious Town Hall Meeting has worked 70 years promoting that inescapable network of mutuality to fulfill a purpose much bigger than ourselves. Join us as we work together to fulfill the purity and the destiny that is the American dream. Thank you for every way that you support us. And now, friends, until next week at the same time and over the very same channel, the American Religious Town Hall Meeting stands adjourned. And may the God of all of us bless all of you.